Happy Saturday everyone, I hope your coffee's strong and your egg yolks are nice and runny. Now, last week didn't feel right, so this week I've decided to have a bit of a reset. Nothing extreme, nothing drastic, just a few small adjustments that are going to keep me moving in the right direction, because this journey isn't about being perfect every week. It's about catching things before they become a problem. Also in this video, I'm going to talk about something that someone said to me this week that really resonated with me. I didn't really think much of it at the time, but it stuck with me more than I expected. And it kind of ties in why I've had a bit of a reset this week. I'm also going to be making a small confession because something's happened this week and it's made me realise that I need to tell you guys about it. So I'm Anta's Midlife. I've been on Mounjaro on this medicated weight loss journey now for just over 8 months. And in that time, I have lost 70 pounds. This channel is all about showing you the highs, the lows, and all the wobbly bits in between. And when I say wobbly bits in between, I don't mean my belly. Now, I inject 7.5 milligrams every single week. And this channel is all about sharing my experience so that you can learn from my journey. I also watch lots of YouTube videos of people who are sort of ahead of me in the journey, and I learn from them. This video will cover my weekly update, where I tell you what was said to me in the week that really resonated. I will also talk about my reset and explain what I've been doing. After that, I'm going to read a few of your questions that have been sent in, and I'll be answering them as a non-medical professional. I will never be a medical professional, and I never proclaim to be a medical professional. But I'll read out a few of your questions this week, as I do every Saturday. If I don't read your question out this week, it just means it's on the list and I will read it out on a future week. So please don't panic, because I will read out every single question I get sent in, as long as it's not rude or even offensive. So this week's weekly update. Now, I decided after last week, things haven't been going great for me, and I'm getting fed up with recording these videos every week, telling you how awful it's been. I've put on weight, I've stayed the same, I've lost a pound, I've put on weight, I've stayed the same, I've lost a pound. And that seems to be the theme of the videos at the moment. So I decided I was going to have a bit of a reset this week. I was going to start focusing on the stuff that matters. I was going to keep it simple, but I was going to do all the stuff that I know works and really served me well earlier in my Mounjaro journey. So that's meant back to tracking calories and tracking every single calorie, not just looking at a bit of food and saying that's approximately 400 calories, or maybe having a sneaky biscuit or two in the office, because that's stopped as of Monday. No more. It also means I've been back to the gym. I've been to the gym 3 times this week. And as always, open, honest and frank, my chest, arms and back are in absolute agony this week. Now, when I went to the gym, I didn't go too heavy because I knew I hadn't been that consistent recently. So I went fairly light with the weights compared to what I would normally do. It's destroyed me. Body is in bits. Even just a touch there is sore. I don't like it. But that is what the restart's about. It's about doing the things that I know work. It's about the hydration. It's about the calories. It's about the exercise. And that's what I'm doing. And that's where I'm at right now. I also had a comment in the week. Now, I was in the kitchen in the office making a cup of coffee. And when this person said it to me, I didn't really think a lot of it. It wasn't until I drove away later that day that I thought, do you know what? She's right. That absolutely hit the spot, hit the bullseye, because what was said to me, now I was making a cup of coffee, picture this if you can. I'm in the office kitchen, I'm making a cup of coffee, there's someone else in there. Hi, how's it going? Yeah, good, thanks. How's your weight loss going? Yeah, it's not so good at the moment, was sort of my reply. It's not so good. It's like 1 week it's up, 1 week it's down, next week it's the same. It doesn't feel like I'm getting anywhere. And she turned around to me and she said this. She said, if you had been told that you would be 5 stone down 8 months ago at this point, what would you have thought? And yeah, absolutely, I'd have been buzzing. I'd have been over the moon. 5 stone down. Yeah, it's 8 months, but it's 5 stone down. Rewind the clock, 8 months. And now you're 5 stone down. And that really hit me. And a few people have said this in the comments: don't be so hard on yourself, you're doing really well, you're absolutely smashing it. And it's not until you take that little step back and someone says a comment like that, you realise, yeah, I am actually doing really well, I don't need to be so hard on myself. But what it also means to me as man does midlife is I'm not done yet, and that's why I've had to restart, and that's why I'm trying to do the things that I know matter to me. Now, I do have a small confession to make. I did a video a few weeks ago when I injected in the thigh, and I had the worst side effects I've ever had in over 8 months taking Mounjaro. So I went back to injecting in the belly, and I've done that ever since. When I said about the side effects from the thigh injection, I did say maybe it's just a coincidence. Well, it turns out it was a coincidence, because this week, or certainly the last 3 days, the sulphur burps have been back, and they've been awful. So it turns out it wasn't the leg injection, it must have just been something I've eaten, or just a circumstance of something or other that caused that for me to think it was the thigh injection. So all you thigh jabbers out there, I do apologise, it wasn't the thigh jab, it was just a pure coincidence, it would seem. Now, as for the weight this week, complete reset, expected a bit of a loss this week. It wasn't as good as I expected, so I've lost £2. I'll take that. That's fine by me. Next week's probably going to be a little bit of a trickier one, because I know I'm in London for a couple of nights in a hotel. I will try and make the right choices, and I will do my best to stay on track. And I think if I make the wrong choices, I will also go down the road of tracking them on my app anyway. But that's next week. We'll worry about that then. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to read out a couple of your questions, do my best to answer them. Once again, not a medical professional. I will just be doing my best as a middle-aged chubby man sat in his dining room looking at a camera. Okie dokie. Right, so first question today is a bit of a recap from a question that was asked last week, and I did say I would do some homework, and I did say I would try and answer it today. And it's from Flying Circus 808, and it's Q&A. Could cortisol be one of the factors in your unexplained weight gain? Your thoughts? Now, this is way beyond my pay grade, I'm not going to lie. However, I did look into it, and it looks like cortisol is basically your body's stress hormone. And if those cortisol levels are high, it works against your weight loss. So when you're stressed, your body thinks you're under threat. So instead of burning fat, it holds onto it, especially around your belly. It also apparently can ramp up cravings, messes with your sleep, and makes you more likely to overeat without even realising it. Like I said, way above my pay grade. But a few people mentioned it in the comments, so I had to address it and I had to look into it. The one thing I will say, I'm not being Mr. Bullshit, I'm not being the big one here, but I'm not a stressy person. I don't tend to get stressed very often. I certainly don't get stressed in work, and I feel that when I do get stressed, I manage it really well. Up until fairly recently, I did actually used to meditate most mornings, but I don't do it anymore. I've also had a question sent in from Peretta100 Q&A. Hi, I'm 67-year-old male, 4 to 5 stone overweight. For you Americans out there, it is 14 pounds to a stone. So I'll let you do the maths because I can't do it in my head. I have slip disc, neuropathy in my feet, so limited in exercise. I can also borderline type 2 diabetic. Would these injections benefit me? My gut feeling would be yes, it would benefit you, but it's not really for me to make that decision. You need to speak to a medical professional. I don't see any reason why it wouldn't benefit you, but I can't sit here on YouTube and say, you need to start taking this, you need to start taking that, because I'm not a medical professional. I am aware of the benefits. A lot of the people who leave comments are aware of the benefits, but get yourself checked out before you take the plunge. Right, David Palmer, 5290 Q&A. I have literally just started on the lowest dose, so I'm guessing that's 2.5 milligrams, David, yeah. Biggest surprise, walking past the Easter eggs in the supermarket without a thought. Question after watching many of your videos, do you think there would ever be a case for going immediately up to the next dose for month 2? If so, why? Thanks from one older guy to another, and then he gives his measurements. So my thoughts on it, and I am 8 months into this now, and I am on 7.5 milligrams. I've always been, and I'll always say, stay on the doses as low as you possibly can until you need to go up. So if you're losing weight, your food noise is low, and you're feeling fine, then there's no reason whatsoever for you to go up the doses. And if you do go up the doses, if you're paying for the medication, you're going to pay more money. So for me, it would seem like a waste of money. If you're walking past the Easter eggs in the supermarket, which I know is no mean feat, because being what I would call an ex-chocoholic, I would struggle with that. If you're doing that, then it says to me that you really don't need to go up a dose. And it would be interesting to know if you're still losing weight. That would be the sort of deal breaker for me. Charlie ZG3WK, question for Q&A. I'm on my 3rd week of Mounjaro and I'm losing about 2 pounds a week on a calorie controlled diet. The one thing I'm concerned about is loose skin and looking gaunt as I move towards my target. Do you have any advice to stop this from happening? Now, touch wood, I've been relatively lucky. I did say I was going to do a video showing sort of what loose skin I do have, and I will do that in the future. There's a few things you can do, and one of them is to try not to lose weight too quick. The other one is to make sure you stay hydrated when you lose weight. The third one is to try and keep as much muscle as you can, or build muscle whilst you're losing weight. They do say that collagen can help. A few of the other factors that are really going to matter are your age, your starting weight, how long you've been overweight. I mean, some people it's just genetics. You can be lucky. If you're going to lose a lot of weight, then the loose skin is more likely. For me, it's part of the process, and if you're going to have loose skin, then the payoff is you've lost a lot of weight and you'll be healthier. If you're going to lose a lot of weight, it's more than likely going to happen, but you've got to choose which road you want to go down. Do you want to be larger and unhealthy, or do you want to be slimmer with a little bit of loose skin and potentially be a lot healthier? That's the choices you've got to look at making. I know which one I'd prefer, and like I said earlier, touch wood, I've been quite lucky because I haven't got a huge amount of loose skin just yet. Right, that is it for questions this week. I do keep a spreadsheet with the questions on. I do have a few on there, and I will get through them all eventually, so apologies if your question hasn't been read out this week. If you do have a question for Q&A, stick it down below in the comments and I will certainly get round to answering it in the very near future. Just wanted to say thanks for all your support of the channel. It really does blow my mind. Every single like, every single comment and every single subscriber means absolutely well to me. So thank you ever so much for that. If you are watching this video, please like the video. If you are not subscribed to the channel, please subscribe to the channel. Please hype the video if you've got that function available. Please put your notifications on. All these things help the channel. I will be back on Wednesday with another video. In the meantime, I will pop some videos on the screen. Here, here, and I never know which side it is. That side, I think, and that side for the subscribe. I'd like to thank you all for letting me spend a little bit of your weekend with you. I know time is precious to us all, certainly at the weekends when we're not working. So once again, thanks for your support, and I will see you all on Wednesday.